I would never trust a woman who says she wants a gay best friend, because what that really means is that she wants a stylist, a makeup artist, and a therapist wrapped into one. Look, I understand that queer and gay people are very fun. We are a good time. We love to go out. I understand all of that. However, if you want a purse, you can go to the store and purchase one. We are not a prop. We are people. We have feelings, and we are human. Treat us as so. Thank you.
Hello guys, it is Mark back with another video, and like I always say, don't be scared to fall because you may fall into a better situation. I like to feel like I'm a part of that better situation. You're already here, so you might as well subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into today's video essay. A woman's accessory. Accessories are meant to serve a purpose. Do these lines sometimes cross when it comes to female and homosexual friendships? And why? Even when the friendship dynamic feels genuine, beneath could lie unconscious homophobic behavior. Meaning a woman can sometimes be homophobic while still being your friend, just as a homosexual man can still be misogynistic.
A straight girl will call her friend that is gay her gay best friend and think she's eating so hard. I had a friend who used to do this, keyword had. One year I went to her birthday and I didn't really know anyone, so everyone she introduced me to, she was like, "This is my gay best friend." She wouldn't even say my name, just gay best friend. Sometimes they don't even bother with the best friend part. They'll just be like, "This is my gay." I would rather be stabbed in the stomach, punched in the face, and thrown off a cliff than be referred to as someone's gay. I just find it so weird. I'm like, first of all, if they didn't already know I was gay, they'll probably pick up on it in the first 2 seconds of conversation. But second of all, if you really need them to know that I'm gay for some reason, talk to me beforehand. I'll plan to throw in a Glee reference in the beginning of the conversation. We'll put on a show.
The unique build of homosexual men, a unique blend of manhood and shared experiences amongst women, making gay men the perfect platonic friend. Women oftentimes see friendship in men, while most men only see interest in women. Men don't look for female friends, even though they have them. The only woman who catches a man's eye is a woman he's attracted to. While a woman does the same sometimes, she's a bit more open at first instinct. Whereas, some men who find women attractive oftentimes find it harder to move past that attraction into a platonic friendship, which creates this rarity of platonic female and male friendships, leaving space for homosexual men to fill the space straight men find it difficult to fill.
Having a gay man as your best friend is the worst thing you can do as a single straight woman because they set your standards so high. Aside from being a really good person, I have been on 3 vacations with this man and I have never carried my suitcase once. Every time we're going out in the daytime, the navigation is dealt with. If I'm going out at night, no one is telling me what to wear. I know that I'm going to be safe just standing next to him. And he does all of this without me promising any sex because obviously he's not attracted to me. The only compromise I have to make in this relationship is being the chopped one every time we go out because I know he's going to look better than me.
While this video is facts and completely harmless, notice how common it is for some people to prop up the benefits of gay individuals while not propping up their struggles. It's more common for a woman to have a gay best friend than it is for her to acknowledge his struggles. This speaks to the lack of depth these friendships often go without. So many view friendships as opportunities instead of cherishing its true capacity. This doesn't just exist for female and homosexual dynamics, but it's more common in these friendships. The same is required of any friendship. Any friendship who doesn't allow space for mutual depth and compassion, you should let go.
And if I keep showing you that I love you and I'm rocking with you and you're showing me that you really don't fuck with me, I'm just going to remove myself from the equation. So you mean to tell me that you go hard and you don't play about everybody else, but when it comes to me, you're always playing in my face and it's always something. As somebody who is a very loyal person who always shows up for people, who always wants to be there for people, it's just a smack in my face when people always show up for other people, then when it comes to me, I'm always the one left with the short change. Like, if you really don't fuck with a motherfucker, just say that. Y'all just be wanting to string people along just to say that you have somebody along with you. Whole time, you're not going to treat them right. So if you know you're not going to treat me right, why not just set me free? And then always try to play like little mind games to where they could give you as little as possible just to keep you around, as if people don't be knowing what the fuck they be doing. So I say that to say this: if you know that somebody is playing on your top, cut them off right now today. Like, don't wait, cut them off today.
This highlights emotional depth, which isn't just lacking in homosexual friendships, but it can exist in all friendships and relationships. Homosexuality has been a revolving door for decades at this point, and those of us who are new to living may feel it's a new phenomenon. But I assure you, this is not our first time around the sun. However, what is new is our visibility. That doesn't erase these tricky dynamics gay individuals have experienced for years. This is why common phrases like "all women aren't your friend" amongst our community have been known for decades and still remain true today. This isn't the video to say that women are enemies to their gay friends, but to wake up the depth she feels he doesn't have or doesn't require. I understand that gay men are men, so women oftentimes treat us as such. Considering lots of men lack emotional depth, I understand the withdrawal, but that still is no excuse to treat your friends like props without feelings. If you can cry on his shoulder, he should be able to cry on yours as well. Even when you can't relate or don't have the words, a friendship doesn't require you to have the answers, but does require you to care regardless. When you think of a friendship, it's someone who is essentially like family to you, meaning they're considered, supported, encouraged, defended, and so much more. While this can exist within female and homosexual friendships, what is oftentimes missed is the lack of support and encouragement, not just in him as a person, but his entire identity. So, what exactly does this mean? It means making space for your gay friendships, and not just places where he's welcome, making space for him in places he also isn't. Stand by him through his battles. In a world that views him as an abomination, that's defense, support, and encouragement. Instead of only focusing on keeping the friendship surface level, get to know who he is and what he stands for, and stand with him. Actually knowing the people you call a friend. Before social media, homosexuality was displayed on television as the comedic relief or the plus one. This set the standard for how gay individuals are viewed in women's lives today. The hairstylist, the designer, the wingman, the gay best friend. So am I surprised that women carry gay men in a similar fashion? Not quite. Television often never gave gay men the spotlight, our own stories, our own love interests. They never viewed homosexuality as marketable or valuable. Therefore, these characters would only occupy small spaces or roles. Less visibility equals less consideration. This lack of consideration for homosexuals, I feel, contributes to how homosexuals are treated amongst all friendships. Not just for females either, but because homosexual men find community in women, this is why this conversation mostly involves women, even though men are more or just as homophobic. Being the gay best friend isn't just someone who's there to protect you from predators, a makeup artist, a listening ear. He's also someone with struggles in his life too, but there's something a gay best friend can't offer a woman: sexual pleasure, which often leads to marriage and children. There's a shared connection women have with men that even a female friendship can't compare to. But friendship can be just as or even more valuable, even when sexual desires aren't met. My point is, another reason why women view homosexual men this way is in spite of homophobic men. Some women won't admit that homosexual men are not worth her husband. She will discard him if necessary, treat him as such if necessary. Considering the tons of homophobic men who live by hating homosexuality, there's always going to be a woman who will follow suit because of their relationship. But is that how you treat a friend? Should someone put their friend before their relationship? Of course not. But there's also space for friendships while in a relationship. A friend isn't meant to compete with your partner. The roles are completely different. Therefore, there should never be situations where you should have to compare. There are things that are just for you and your partner. There are also times where there's space for partners and friendships to come together. Getting to that point requires your friend and partner to understand one another enough to coexist, which happens when the mutual friend creates that space. But that space oftentimes is not created out of fear, which shows how disposable some people view friendships these days. I would think a friend is someone who is a part of whoever you choose to build your life with. Ask yourself why your friendships can exist while you have a partner. If it's trust, ask yourself why you're still friends with someone you don't trust. If it's because he's gay, ask yourself why that matters now if it didn't before. When a man is homophobic, it is up to the woman to defend her friend, not because her friend is more important, but because he deserves the same respect as her partner. Some women will either say nothing or condone his behavior, instead putting distance within the friendship for her potential husband. There's nothing wrong with protecting your man's peace, but if you understand your homosexual friend isn't a problem, That is where you step in to defend his character. Condoning your man's hatred instead of defending your friend shows you aren't really his friend and how disposable he is to you. A lot of women are not ready to admit this, that this is the reason that their friendships have always had distance, because you enjoy more of what he has to offer you than knowing him as a person, an accessory. The same can happen when a man doesn't like the company a woman keeps. Some women will resort to cutting those friendships off to please their man. Again, condoning the man's perception of people she knows. She folds instead of defending. She cuts them off instead of creating that bridge. Would you call this a friend? The act of condoning hatred feels right, because after all, a husband is a woman's priority. But would your husband put you in a situation to have to choose between him and your friends when you two occupy different spaces in your life? On the flip side of this, most homosexual men sympathize with women, not because they want to be one, but because he dates them while also being one. Therefore, he sympathizes with the emotional toll women can sometimes go through with men. Also, he sees her, he understands her, listens to her in a way that most men could, but so many times don't. This type of dynamic is what women don't bring to the table in homosexual friendships. She listens to his responses to her questions, but fails to make space to listen to his struggles. A true friend takes interest in things that make both of you happy, but also the things that make both of you sad, completely involving herself in things that he also has interest in.
Nobody talks enough about the loneliness of being the gay friend. You're included, you're invited everywhere. Everyone says they love you, but sometimes it feels like people love the role you play more than the person you actually are. You know, you become the entertainer, the therapist, the funny one, the fashionable one, the emotionally intelligent one, the safe man around women, the iconic one. But the second you're struggling, the second you're insecure, the second you're jealous, the second you're emotional, angry, needy, the second you're complicated in a human way, people tend to get uncomfortable. A lot of gay men grow up learning to make themselves socially valuable to straight people in order to be accepted. So they become useful, they become palatable, they become easy, they become performative. And after a while, you start to wonder, do people actually know me? Or do they just like having me around? And that's a very specific kind of loneliness, being constantly included, but rarely deeply understood.
Oftentimes, we don't see women show up for gay men in this way, bringing him a cake during Pride Month to show you understand his struggles and you're by his side regardless. Asking about his relationship with his parents, because a lot of us don't have one. It's easy for a gay man to leave these conversations out for female friendships, because most people don't find interest in things that they don't relate to. He may find it more comforting to have these conversations with other gay men who can relate to his experience or is just a bit more open to his identity. On a deeper level, not just the benefits of him being queer. If this resonates, ask yourself, is your gay best friend a friend, or is he an accessory? A woman's accessory.